Hi, my name is Hannah Hayden, and my case study presentation is about the Giannis vs. Plummer trial and how we can use this case to better understand the conflict of interest. Michael Giannis was an employee for the Union Pacific Railroad, and Brian Plummer was the in-house counsel for the company. On September 6, 2008, a fellow worker named Robert Garcia was working with Michael Giannis. Robert and Michael were working together when Robert dropped a tool down the pit. When Robert went to get the tool, he slipped and fell on the oil and greased out floors. Once Robert had made a complaint, the company talked to Michael Giannis about the incident. He said he saw Bobby slip and fall. The company assigned their in-house counselor, Brian Plummer, to defend the FELA Act, the Federal Employers Liability Act. Plummer met with Michael Giannis to discuss his statement. Giannis discussed with Plummer how he didn't actually see the fall. Giannis talked with Plummer on how he was nervous to tell the truth in court because he didn't want to lose his job. Plummer told Giannis that it's okay, he can tell the truth, and that he is now Giannis's attorney. When a case has a conflict of interest, it means the two opponents for the case will be incompatible and will have a conflict between the two. In this case, when Mr. Plummer is defending the company and Mr. Giannis, there will be a conflict of issue. Mr. Giannis' statement will not benefit the company, and Mr. Plummer knows he is switching his statement and that it will hurt the company. Mr. Plummer is now on both the company and Mr. Giannis' side, which go against each other. This case shows how conflict of interest can happen in company cases. Mr. Plummer was supposed to help the company, and once he knew that Mr. Giannis was going to switch his statement, he needed to protect the company, not add Mr. Giannis as his client. Conflict of interest is starting to be seen morally. Should you be able to take a case even though you have outside interest in the case? The thought behind conflict of interest is the fact that people become more emotional and will not stop till they win. When it's someone you know, you're more likely to do unethical things. When looking into how conflict of interest affects the criminal justice profession, you start to see how when someone acts a certain way, they won't know when to stop. Once you break one rule, you will break another. The judgment of the person taking the risk becomes unstable. That person becomes a risk. Why? Because they are making decisions based on what they feel like they should do. The job of being a prosecutor, judge, lawyer is to protect your clients and to serve justice. What happens when there is a conflict of issue is that the protection sways more towards that person you are trying to protect. You always will want to give that person justice, even though it may not be correct. Conflict of interest creates dishonesty within the understanding of the case. Conflict of interest matters because you want to avoid having it happen. You don't want the cheating or lying, and you don't want the chaos and emotions that come with it. The case of Giannis vs. Plummer adds to our knowledge of the conflict of interest because it gives us a different angle on ways conflict of interest can happen. This case allowed us to see how Mr. Plummer added Mr. Giannis to his client list even though it hurt his case against the company. This case has showed us what it looks like to have two clients that go against each other and how you can't support both of them. Mr. Plummer could have just been trying to be nice to Mr. Giannis and telling him everything will be okay, but in reality it hurt Mr. Giannis because he got fired and the company dropped Mr. Plummer because he was supporting someone who actually hurt their case. Mr. Plummer started off defending the company, and then he switched and defended Mr. Giannis, and Mr. Giannis was now going against the company. It's something we haven't seen. Mr. Plummer was protecting the company from the FELA, and he was protecting Mr. Giannis from the company. These are two separate cases, but they affect each other. Mr. Giannis was supposed to help the company, but then changed on them, and he told Mr. Plummer, who decided to help both instead of just the company. It is hard to see why Mr. Plummer made these decisions that he made. We know that a conflict of interest creates chaos and unethical choices. When Mr. Plummer decided to help Mr. Giannis, he began mixing the cases, and it hurt him to do that. Here are all of my references in case you want to learn more about the conflict of interest or the Giannis vs. Plummer case. Thank you for watching.